Okay, welcome to our premiere video for our new site, GMS Info Doc 2. You know, you had the guys that call themselves Israelites, but are really homosexuals in disguise, had our site flagged and basically canceled. You know, the GMS Info Doc. So you know our MO, man. Keep it rolling, keep it moving.
Right.
All right, GMS Info Doc 2. The name of this lesson will be called Sifting the Offended, because basically what we found out by the Spirit is pursuant to Amos 9:9, the Lord said he would sift the house of Israel. So all these things that you see happening with certain guys getting offended in the doctrine, that's part of the sifting process.
Right.
All right, and we got certain words we're going to look up that proves that point, and hopefully at the end of this lesson you'll get a better idea of what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is doing.
Right.
You know, this knowledge was never meant to be an easy ride. You know, it was never meant for you to come into it and just coast right through this.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
Like in your last year of high school, you just coasted right through it, and then you graduated. This ain't this kind of.
It ain't that kind of party.
You're right. It ain't that kind of party. It ain't that kind of journey.
That's right.
All right. In this path of truth, there's many stumbling blocks. There's many hurdles. All right, that you gotta get over. You know.
Yep.
In this path of truth. Remember, in the Apocrypha, it says that the path of truth is so narrow that only one man can
Going at a time.
Can tread it at a time, one man at a time. And on one side is fire, and on the other side is water. All right, so remember that's written in the Apocrypha.
Yeah, and then you got to remember too that this thing that's happening is nothing new. It happened back then, and it's happening now, and we've seen this happen many times already.
That's right. That's a good point.
So I mean, it's not something that we're surprised about, because we know by experience and seeing it over the years, the same shit in the same type of way, or maybe in a different fashion, but it's the same shit.
But it's the same theme.
Yeah. We've seen it many times. So you know, these guys all bugging out. That means the ones that's bugging out, that means that their foundation ain't sure. Yeah,
your foundation was weak to begin with, and the Most High uses certain situations, like the situation with them two magpies. Is what I call them, two magpies down there in Florida. You know, and a lot of you guys got offended on how we dealt with them.
Right.
You know, on how, beginning with Elder Taha, how they were dealt with. And like Elder Ralmam just said, we've seen this time and time again.
Yep.
Remember, we've been in this thing for a while, so this is nothing new to us.
Right.
You know, a lot of you guys that fainted at that, what would you have done if you were back there when you had the split between Elder Ariyah and Elder Marsha? What would you have done then?
Yep.
You know, and then you had another split between us, which is now called GMS, and the House of David back there. All right, so you're going to have those splits.
Yep.
And the reason being is the Most High is thinning the herd, because remember, the elect is a small number in comparison to the nation of Israel. Yep. The elect is a very small number.
That's what it's good to say. Many are called, but few are chosen.
And the Most High is going to keep sifting until his son Yahweh Shai comes.
That's right.
All right? So let's go to the book of Amos 9:9.
All right, Amos chapter 9, verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Right, so let's examine that scripture. Go back and read it again.
It says, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations.
Right, I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. Because, first of all, the Lord uses the word to gather the children of Israel from among all nations.
Right.
That's written in the book of Baruch, the 4th chapter and the 5th chapter.
Right.
But the Lord also uses the word to sift the house of Israel. Now, if you ever watch a person when they're about to bake a cake, when they sift the flour, they use a violent action.
Yep.
They shake it.
Right.
All right? And that's what's happening. A lot of you guys were shaken by how them two magpies in Florida was dealt with. That shook you. Especially you guys that have a weak foundation. And you know what happens when a weak foundation is shooken?
It falls apart.
It falls apart. That's why you guys fell apart.
Yep.
All right? Matter of fact, now you read the word sift, right?
Yep.
In Amos. Now this is from the Blue Letter Bible. All right. Now that's a tool that the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, put on Elder Tahar to give to us. All right. That's one of those tools that makes a brother sharp in the faith. All right. It's from the Hebrew word nawai, and listen to the definition. It says to quiver, to totter, to shake, to reel, stagger, wander, move, sift, make move, wave, waver, tremble. So there's certain instances, certain circumstances that come up that will cause you to quiver, totter, and shake. Now, if you're not strong in the truth, if you're not strong in the word, you're going to totter, you're going to shake, you're going to reel, you're going to stagger, and you know what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to fall out.
That's right.
And who's doing this? The Most High Himself is doing this. And He's using certain circumstances to come up to cause you to totter, to shake. Right. One of the main ones that's upcoming, that we always hear us talk about, is that chip.
That's right.
That chip is going to separate the proverbial men from the boys, as it were.
That's right.
Now the men are the ones that's in this truth. The boys are the ones that claim they're in this truth, but they're really not. Like them two magpies down there in Florida. Yep. All right? So there it is again. I'll read it again. It says to quiver, the word sift, from the Hebrew word nawai, which means to quiver, totter, shake, reel, stagger, wander, move, sift, make move, wave, waver, tremble, to wave, quiver, vibrate, swing, stagger, tremble, be unstable. Be unstable.
Right.
Now, what did Peter say about Paul? The writings of Paul.
That's somewhat hard to be understood.
That they that are unlearned
and unstable
wrestle to their own destruction.
Yep.
Now, the writings of Cornelius, or the Cornelius issue, and the Israelite foreigners issue, that's mainly dealt with in the writings of who? The writings of Paul.
That's right.
And even to this day, the Israelite foreigner issue got a lot of you guys unstable.
Yep.
That is another circumstance the Lord is using to sift the house of Israel.
Right.
That Cornelius issue. When that Cornelius issue came, that's what brought the split between what is known as GMS today and the house of David. That's what brought the split. All right?
That's right.
That's right. Reading on, it says to waver, quiver, vibrate, swing, stagger, tremble, be unstable, to totter. And you can look these words up, all right?
Right.
Go tottering, vagabond, which the word vagabond means a wanderer. And that's what you have. You know, some of these guys, they get sifted from the truth, and they wander. They go to Bubble-Eyed Blackfish.
Yep.
They go to Zabak.
They go to General Gehenna.
They go to General Gehenna.
Nate Satan.
Why? Because they have no foundation.
Yep.
All right?
Yeah, an example of that is that dude, Horse Head. That dude, he was bouncing from one camp to the other one. You know, he started out with this guy, then he came over to that guy. He said, this guy ain't shit. Then he came over to us. Then he said, we ain't shit. Then he go over to this guy. That's a perfect example of a guy that's been sifted. That's been sifted, exactly.
You're being sifted, and you don't even realize it. And we see that on the comment board. We see that by your comments, and we got scriptures dealing with that. Yep. The abundance of a man's heart speaketh. All right, go on.
It says.
Matter of fact, before you read that, I'm gonna read this. It says, "Vagabond, to be tossed about or around." Ooh. Spiritually, that's what's happening to these guys. They're all effed up in the head, man. And like I said, going back to the sifting action, when you watch a baker sift the flour before he bakes the cake or makes the cake, he uses a very violent action to sift that flour, man, to get the fine flour.
Yep.
Now, the fine flour, spiritually, that's the elect. All right? And no matter how much the action is shaken, they're not going to fall out.
Right. It's just like gold. If you keep burning gold, all the impurities are going to come out the gold, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be gold.
Exactly.
You know, it's just going to be more and more refined, but it's still gold.
And I'm glad you used that analogy, because the word is like fire.
Right.
And then the Lord said in the book of Jeremiah, said, what is the chaff to the wheat?
That's right.
Who is the chaff? The chaff is those of you that get offended,
Yep.
those of you that fall out, those of you that wander to and fro.
You bounce from this camp to
Bounce
the
from
other
this camp to this camp. And we saw that when we were coming up in the truth. We called them camp jumpers. And them camp jumpers always had a problem with their camp leader.
Yep.
And what happened? Eventually they fell out the truth. All right?
I got something real quick.
Yep, bring it out.
This is Ephesians 4:14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive.
And you can put a picture on that. You can put Zabak right there.
Yep.
The sleight of man. You know? First of all, that homosexual ideology, that came through General Gehenna.
Right.
He was the first to say that homosexuals can be accepted. Then that spirit, that demonic spirit, filtered through Zabak. It went from General Gehenna, it bounced from General Gehenna to Zabak. He started teaching that madness. But back then, and I was talking to Elder Ramlab about that, back then when we were coming up, the discussion of homosexuality ended with Leviticus 20 and 13.
That's it.
And then the book was closed. So why is this demonic, filthy spirit coming up about homosexuals can be saved? Because a lot of you that's being gathered out there that really don't have no business in this truth, a lot of you are homosexuals.
Yep.
A lot of you are undercover faggots, man. That's why that spirit is coming out. And that's what the Most High is using to sift the ones that he don't want, pursuant to Amos 9 and 9. Go on, brother.
That was it on that.
Okay, so I'll read the definition. Again, to recap, Amos 9 and 9, the Hebrew word there is nawai, which means to be tossed about or around. To toss about. To shake, cause to totter. To shake, to disturb.
Yep. Disturbed.
A lot of you are being disturbed. A lot of you think that this thing is supposed to be easy. Easy going. You know, like a person that's on an easy flow. When something comes up, a little snag in the path, they get disturbed.
Yep.
That's you guys, man.
They get confused.
Right. They get confused and they get disturbed. Which leads to what? Confusion.
Yep.
You know, you're getting disturbed at that. This thing is not supposed to be easy. We already told you that.
Yep.
When you go in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 2nd chapter, it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state.
Yep.
For gold is tried in the fire. Now you heard Elder Ramlab use the analogy of gold. You got to put fire to that gold. You got to test it. These are the fires that are coming up, man, and you guys are going right up, just like chaff. Yep. You're going right up, man. It says to shake, disturb, to cause to wander.
Right. Now that word totter too. You look up the word totter. It's like them dominoes. One domino falls and hits another domino, and they just keep falling consecutively. That's what's happening. You know, this one thing happened. And then now these guys
through gossip, like women.
Gossip, yep. It's a filtering down to all you other guys that in the back of your mind you was like you're not sure, you don't know if this is the truth. You know, you know, it's just things are too hard. So some of you guys are looking for an excuse to leave out of this thing instead of just going.
Well, we saw that with the year 2000.
Yep.
A week before the year 2000 came, Elder Tar called the school. We had the school in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Elder Tar called the school and he said, listen, you know this white man ain't going down before, you know he ain't going down by the year 2000.
Yep.
Now, you had a couple guys that lost it, man.
Yep.
One guy in particular, his name was Mike. He made that statement. He said, man, you mean to tell me the white man ain't going down before the year 2000? And then he fell right out the truth. Yep. That was his excuse. The point is he was looking for an excuse to he couldn't deal with it anymore. Because this thing is not easy, all right? He couldn't deal with it anymore, so he needed a pretext. That was his pretext. Yep. And that year 2000 threw a lot of guys for a loop. A lot of guys fell out behind that. Now that we're at the end and they see the prophecies happening, now they're trying to creep up in there. Now they're trying. It don't work that way, man.
That's right.
Pursuant to Luke 9 and 62. All right? See, that's what's happening, see? That's why you got to listen to your elders, man. The Most High set us up for a reason, man. All right? Okay, now let's go to the next scripture. We finished Amos 9 and 9?
Yep, that's it.
Let's go to the book of Matthew 24 and 24.
All right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24,